Hello. Today we're hosting Alex Martucci, an Italian entrepreneur in the motorsports industry, from car racing, Formula One, and MotoGP. He was part of the Formula One Grand Prix organization that took place in Imola, Italy. Okay. So, Alex, I want you to share some highlights from your extensive career in the automotive industry and how you got started.
Well, thank you so much, Baker, for having me today. It's a real pleasure being here in Qatar. As you mentioned, I'm born and raised in the Motor Valley. I was born and raised in Imola, and when you grow up in that specific environment, the automotive and the cars are really all around you, and it's a passion that goes through. And the very, very first job that I got, it was at the racetrack of Imola. In 2004, I actually got my license to work in the sports industry for racing cars in the day of my 18th birthday in 2003. And so from there, I just started to
So it's a day to remember. So celebrating
totally.
Good things at that time.
Definitely was amazing, yes.
So as an Italian growing in the Motor Valley, which is the land of premium automotive brands, we all know the Ferraris, Lamborghinis, Maserati, and the iconic Ducati. I want to know, what's your favorite vehicle? Automaker?
Well, to me, it's Ferrari, and always will be. There are many reasons for that, but the first one is certainly the history behind whatever Enzo Ferrari, the founder, created in Maranello. And the heritage on the brand, the type of legacy that is basically continuing to travel around the world and bring elegance in not only the automotive industry, but really on many different platforms and industries is Ferrari as it is.
So, of course, it's a premium automaker. It's a premium brand. And all of the Italian automakers and all the Italian brands are luxurious, are like premium. And I think this has to do with the culture of Italians. They like top-notch things. And
we definitely like beauty. And I think I feel myself really privileged to be born and raised in Italy, because you really travel on a museum every day without even thinking about it, that you are walking through an open museum, every city in Italy. And this kind of beauty is embedded in the people and is embedded on what we do. And car making has just achieved pinnacles with really Ferrari, Lamborghini, Pagani, Maserati, and Ducati for the two wheels. Everything is really related to creating masterpieces. And I think the Motor Valley is really achieving that.
Speaking about Pagani and masterpieces, I once watched a documentary about how Pagani vehicles are being built and the way it's manufactured. You see this, factory with a lot of art inside it, and they get inspired while building the vehicles. So this is something that really impressed me. And I think you mentioned that you've met Horacio Pagani, which is the founder of Pagani.
Yeah, it was a very interesting meeting encounter, because I met Horacio during the presentation of a two-wheels museum for bicycles, because he's very involved around anything that moves. So, Horacio, I believe, he really represents what he is making and how someone that coming from South America, specifically Argentina, travel the world to go to the Motor Valley and start to build his own company car, which are timeless pieces, because the type of Pagani that he has produced are absolutely astonishing things. And also being involved with two wheels or in bikes with an Italian brand called Nago, that is historical, created the two wheels in terms of cycling. And I met during this presentation Horacio, and we got the chance to speak on really how he looks at every details, the relevance of elegance, but also the uniqueness of every part that you can see also inside of the manufacturing process that he has.
Interesting. So how is he as a person? You know, when someone is so successful, you feel like somehow the person is hard to communicate with or to reach out to. How is he as a person?
He's amazingly down to earth. You can really see he's a person that is working towards his dreams anyway. And it's not really related to the money, regardless that the cars that he is making, of course, are expensive, but this is not his goal. And I think it's very clear when you meet a person like him, how he has approached everything in life. He has approached really entering a very, very difficult industry, because being a car maker out of the blue, it's very, very tough. And
competing with the big guys, Ferrari and Lamborghini.
On creating supercars. Plus, you have to think that you have, of course, Mercedes, you have BMWs, you have all the other European car makers that are working towards creating supercars anyway. And he achieved dreams because he followed dreams. And that's what you can really feel around him. His energy is very clean on that side. Is not there for the money. It's there for something totally different.
Achieving something like this, it's not following the money. It's having an objective, building something new, and he definitely did.
Totally.
Okay, so during these years in the automotive industry, I want to know which people inspired you the most.
So I've been very lucky because I traveled the world a lot and I met very, very interesting people all across the board. But I think the most influential one for me was Luca Cordero di Montezemolo, which was the president of Ferrari when they got Michael Schumacher. And so they started to win races in Formula 1.
When is that? Like, we're speaking about how many years back? Approximately.
Michael Schumacher joined Ferrari in 1996. And I met Luca Cordero in 2000, where basically they were approaching to win the world champion in 2000 with the driver world champion. And from there, you get to know more about the sports industry and Formula 1. It was a very, very different type of sports compared to what you have seen today, because it was more related to the power of the engine, the aerodynamics, the opportunity to create pieces that were more unique. Now you have rules that, of course, are creating competition on a different level, which is great for the audience because it's leading millions and millions of people to approaching Formula 1, which they were not before. But, it's part of the evolution of the things and the sports as well.
No, I think you being part of the organizer like Formula 1, being part of Formula 1 team, as you mentioned, in Italy, you might have met a lot of interesting people.
Yeah, of course, the president of Ferrari was a starting point, and then from there, I remember a night that I met, I was in Sardinia in 2004. There is here in Qatar a very important and famous rally driver. It's called Nasser Al-Attiyah.
Nasser Al-Attiyah, yeah. It's
I remember when I met him, it was the evening, it was night already, before the starting of the event in Sardinia. So for the very first time, they moved the World Rally Championship in Italy from Sanremo to Sardinia. And he was there. He was the underdog. He really was not evaluated enough for his skills, but he proved them wrong all the way up to today, because he won several Dakar Rally Championship, World Rally Championship anyway. And he was so down to earth with me, and it was an incredible meeting. And we spent few hours all together. We eat together in the paddock.
So people were questioning like whether he's going to make it or not. But as you mentioned, he proved everyone wrong.
Oh, he proved everyone wrong. Absolutely. Yeah. He started really as an underdog, and people were questioning. But because, the Middle East was not in the scene for motorsport. It was a very new entry. They were just part of, of an environment of a sponsorship, not really playing the game. And
this is how it was for many years. Now that we're getting close to October and many events happening in October of this year, you have the Formula One, you have the Geneva International Motor Show that will take place in Qatar. So many events. What do you think?
Well, I think it's the reason why I'm here, actually, because if we start with Formula One, which of course is part of my background, is something that is embedded into me, I'm very happy that finally Qatar is joining the calendar on a very long-term basis with a 10-year contract.
It's a 10-year contract, right?
Correct. So it's a great thing because I think the Lusail circuit is incredible. They were the very first night circuit for two wheels racing in MotoGP. And it's great that now finally four wheels are joining as well. The Geneva Motor Show, it's really defining the market and where we are going. I personally believe is a gateway for a lot of car makers that are based either in Europe or even in Asia to finally join and start from Qatar as a gateway for all the Middle East region. We are facing a shift in the market with very different type of business models. Which car makers are selling direct, like Tesla does. We have some direct subscription model from Lynk & Co. We have other type of dealers sales. All of those elements are working towards a shift in the economy. And the very, very important part will be having someone that can create a platform, technological platform, that can help navigate through those differences.
Well, I'll tell you more about One Autocar, which is a platform that we founded here in Qatar. But before, I want to go one step back and I want to discuss the importance of the Geneva International Motor Show, since there are more than 30 global automotive brands that they're going to be present. And, we're expecting to see, concept cars, launches of new models. And I think this time there will be a lot of visitors from the area, like I'm sure from United Arab Emirates, from Saudi Arabia, and even internationally, they're going to come for this event. Because I think the Geneva International Motor Show didn't happen previously in Geneva due to the COVID and all what had happened. So many people are waiting eagerly for this event, this exhibition.
Sure. And I think it's, again, one of the reasons why the market that we are seeing right now here in Qatar, or by my personal experience, you see a counterbalance of specific brands presence here in the region, all across the region, that are more Asian or way more Chinese companies compared to what we have in Europe or even American companies. So Geneva here, because it didn't happen in Switzerland, and is a very big deal in my opinion, and it's a great opportunity not only for the buyers but also for the car makers to start to understand how the Middle East can really be a new platform for launching new products, for new prototypes. We cross roads where we can see very unique pieces of cars.
This is what I wanted to ask you, actually. I mean, what did you see when you went in the roads? What impressed you? What kind of cars?
Okay,
I know the answer.
We went through a parking lot that I thought was already bought from Land Cruisers, because it was only Land Cruisers for miles. It was incredible. But the other thing is, you got of course the type of the cars that are coming here now are mainly SUVs. And Land Cruiser and Nissan Patrol are certainly taking...
Sorry to interrupt. I just want to tell you why you think Land Cruisers and Nissan Patrols are very common here.
Okay.
Well, actually, I'm going to give you the answer. The brands are reliable.
Okay.
And it's part of their history and culture. So if you go back like 20 years back, 30 years back, you will see that they used to own these cars.
Okay.
So they evolved And now every Qatari house have a Land Cruiser as a must. It can be the second, third, or fourth car.
Wow.
But it's a must. You should have these cars.
Okay, so it's a very cultural thing.
Definitely.
See, this is something that European, I believe, are possibly missing out as an opportunity to create culture. So, of course, it might be a marketing play as well in this case, but if you are playing for the long term, you really need to understand where we are going. And of course, Qatar has its own roles, and like Saudi or UAE, and there is nothing wrong with that. It's amazing that actually you can see this type of heritage staying present in the region. And it will be a great lesson for the European automakers to start to build that kind of
Definitely. Like, as you mentioned, there are a lot of Japanese and now Chinese automakers that I think, based on the discussion we had before, you mentioned that some of the brands that you saw in the road in Qatar are non-existing in the European market.
Absolutely. I was very, very surprised about the quantity of different type of car makers from China that are already in the market in Qatar. And those type of brands are not in Europe yet. I mean, we know that BYD is certainly maybe the major player in Europe, or at least is one of the most advertised. But you don't really see a lot of cars on the road yet. Here, you can really feel, okay, the market here is already different. And their advantage of distribution is already in place. It's already in place.
Yeah. They have a big market share. And I witnessed this in the last couple of years, to be honest. From non-existing, maybe as far as I remember, I saw, MG, like years back. But every year, you're seeing new Chinese models and brands entering the market. So what you see now wasn't present like 2 years back or 3 years back, and in an impressive rate.
Yeah, this is the thing, because here in Qatar, I saw a specific pattern on how fast things can happen. And even if we are talking about distribution on large scale of automaking, everything is happening very fast. And for some reason, the market is really absorbing those news. Qatar is certainly opening doors for welcoming new people and becoming a very strong independent party inside of the Middle East region. And it's great that even a very tough market like the autocar maker and automaking industry can really have a thriving season through Qatar.
I have to admit that the adoption of electric vehicles was not fast enough in the Qatari market. And I think this is due to multiple things, maybe culturally, also, the petrol prices are affordable, are really competitive compared to other markets. And it took time for people to accept electric vehicles. At some point, we know this is going to happen globally, and all the brands are now having either hybrid, plug-in hybrid, or electric vehicles. There are electric. You can see some Teslas, you can see some Audi e-trons, and you can see them in the market. You can see also in the gas stations where there are some dedicated charging stations. So the infrastructure is being built. But if, for example, I've been to Europe, I've been to Portugal, I've seen more electric vehicles than here, or let's say in the GCC in general. So I'm not really sure how this is going to move forward, but I think the automakers themselves, by having models that are fully EV, will force everyone to adopt and have an EV at some point. What do you think about that?
I think in Europe you have specific rules related to distribution of electric vehicles, but this is the other great advantage of having Geneva Auto Show here in Qatar, is really understanding if the market needs a push in a specific electric vehicle direction, or it can be more hybrid for a longer period of time, because again, here the cultural part of the heritage with the people in terms of switching from one type of engine, ICE engine, to an electric one is really a change on a daily life basis. I used to own a Tesla, and I know how it is living with an electric vehicle, with a great advantage of having a Tesla, because you have a very well distributed recharging areas with the supercharger of Tesla. So it was specifically for Europe, when I bought it, a very, very well experience, because I didn't experience anything bad with the electric vehicle. It's cool and it's fast and whatever, but it changes a lot of things in your life. And that's also why people needs time to adopt that, and the intermediate step with the hybrid might be more.
This takes me to another question. Since you had a Tesla,
Yeah.
and you had petrol cars, personally, in your own opinion, which one would you go for?
So it's a question in the making, because when I bought the Tesla, I said I'm never coming back. But then the efficiency of car makers with standard fuel thermal engine has become incredibly successful. And even if we are talking about environment, they are becoming even more efficient sometimes than a car that was built 1 year ago. It's crazy how they work well. And so now it's more the brand that is calling me at this point. So I might go again with a nice car. So yeah, I might come back.
So you're not mentioning any brand name, so you're being biased. Well, at the beginning you mentioned how Ferrari.
Yeah, but honestly, I'm very, very well connected with European brands. I personally in love with BMW since forever, and so for me the 7 Series is the car in a standard daily basis, if you want to say like that. And but I understood that here in Qatar, I might really want to go for a Land Cruiser. So let's figure that out.
That was fast.
His adoption.
Yeah, definitely. And as you know, there's a lot of desert and off-roading, and there are some seasons where Qataris go to the desert, and they stay weeks and months there. So you need to have a reliable car.
Totally, absolutely. No, that's why also to live the experience properly and adapt yourself in the right way. I think my next purchase might be certainly this type of SUVs. Not sure which one yet. I need to figure it, because Lexus is on the making anyway.
Okay, so now, as you mentioned before, that the technology is impacting how automakers are presenting their brands in a way that now you can buy a vehicle online.
Totally, yes.
And I think Tesla had, an impact on that. Tesla had an impact on, as we all know, in the creation or recreation, because electric vehicles did exist in the past as technology. But he introduced the electric vehicles, and all other brands went into this, field. At the same time, Tesla, you can buy directly from their website. Now you see other brands as well. They're adopting this, and you just can buy it online without even seeing the car, just choosing the specification and all of that, and then you get the car. And sometimes it's getting delivered to your house.
Yes.
So as simple as this. It's like you shop for a T-shirt on a website.
It's a word that is changing, if you think about it. And I believe it's for different type of targets in the market. That's why we need more tools. Direct sales can work if you already are a customer, or you are, let's say, a principal in young terms, that you are making searches in a different way, and you are approaching the purchase in a totally different way compared to me and you, for instance, because we have the same age and we went through a very specific path of purchasing cars, either for Europe, but even in the Middle East, is the dealer, the relationship that you built with the people around the automaker, how the brand impacted on you. And that's why there is not only one size does fit all, and that's why you really need more technological solutions for it, I believe.
Yeah, actually, since you are also in the advertising industry, what I noticed is like if you go like, I don't know, 7 years, 10 years back, you could see that reputable brands didn't even advertise for themselves. They were against this. No, I'm not going to have any Instagram ads. I'm not going to have any campaigns. But this has changed because now I've seen like Bentley ads. I've seen many premium cars advertising themselves. So this has shifted as well because their audience, regardless of their purchase behavior, is there on the internet. On those platforms. So you don't want to miss out.
Absolutely. And I remember vividly when I saw Rolls-Royce opening the Instagram account, because I remember back in the day when we were way more involved in Facebook and Instagram and technology, I remember how people were replying to us saying, Alex, but we are BMW, we are this, we are that, we don't really need that. And they joined in 2015, 2016 maybe. So
it was a matter of time.
Was just a matter of time because every consumer is already online, of course, as his own social media platforms. But it was interesting the behavior where they were saying, no, we're good. We stay on just PR and media and we're good. And now you see platforms that are just advertising cars all day long because they need to create content.
Because if you don't do it, the competitor will.
Yeah, exactly. So you have to.
True. I also like you mentioned that some companies like Lynk & Co, they have the subscription model.
Correct.
So I would say an ease of payment. So as if you are leasing a car, but at the end, you're paying X amount per month.
Correct. It's a model where, specifically for Europe, I would say it might be more interesting just because you are looking to rent a car. And instead of renting the car, you are going directly with the maker, with Lynk & Co in this case, who is taking into account the insurance as well. Because, insurance across the board of every type of purchase for the car is absolutely crucial.
Definitely.
And it's something that if the car maker, like Lynk & Co did, and apparently is the only one that achieved that result in terms of agreements for certain countries in Europe, because you cannot really use the subscription model everywhere in Europe of Lynk & Co for the insurance matter. It's for someone that is very young age that for 40 days, you are using the renting system with a better advantage rate and you are trying a new car. So it's a good advertising model as well for the car maker on a certain level. It's just very different, and I'm not sure that there are a lot of buyers are going to be ready for it.
And what's the idea? Is like you pay an X fixed amount per month, and then after a couple of years you can get a newer model?
Lynk & Co in Europe, in certain region of Europe, are providing 30 days. So you can rent for a month.
Oh,
and that's it. And then you are giving the car
rental
back.
Companies
It looks almost like a car rental company. So that's why it's certainly from a car maker perspective, very, very expensive because you don't have agreements that last for 3 years, like a regular loan or a regular rent for 1 month. You might have 30 days, sure, you might have a 6 month. Of course, you are pre-selecting different type of options, but it's a very, very aggressive way to enter the market. So you need to have capital to sustain certain type of financial investments, which are interesting to see. I personally didn't try the Lynk & Co car because in Switzerland, where I used to live before, the insurance agreement was not in place, so you couldn't rent the car. And but it's a kind of a business model.
It's a game changer in the industry, I guess.
Oh, totally. It definitely it is. The thing is, the type of users that are going to use it are not maybe the people that we usually consider for a purchase of a certain amount of money, because that really changes the game in terms of economics. And the type of behavior that you have while purchasing a car that is a premium car or is a very daily drive. And the daily drive moving to subscription can really be a game changer.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So financially, and it's more feasible for people who are looking
I believe
to save.
so. In certain region in Europe, it certainly could be a very interesting solution as an alternative.
So we mentioned all of this, that a lot of automakers have their websites, they sell online and all of that. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about one AUTOCAR, which is an automotive listing platform that we built. And actually the way we built it is thinking of the user. You know, if you want to buy a car, you don't want to go into each single website or visiting every showroom. Absolutely. So you want to see everything in one place. And this is actually our slogan, all deals, one place.
Okay.
So you'll have everything there. So depending on, you know, there is a lot of a variety of cars from, you know, affordable to supercars. Yeah. And you can find everything there. We also thought about the dealers because we know the dealers, what they need. They need leads. They need people that are willing to buy their cars. People who are willing to test their cars, you know, test drives. So we became a lead generation for those companies. So they rely on us as one of the main channels for lead generation and traffic to their website. So they get redirected from, you know, the traffic that we have from people interested in automotive, and is being shifted and redirected to their websites so they can, you know,
start the sales process.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's great. And, you know, when I went to the website, the thing that for me was very interesting as a buyer, so talking about how easy it is to use and the type of user interface and the user experience that you got through the platform, again, is it really embody whatever you mentioned, which is the variety of type of the car. You go from the top tier to the daily drive, but also the opportunity to feel safe inside of that environment to leave the lead. Because, you know, nowadays, everyone is trying to catch you somehow, correct? And I think that the real added value is feeling safe on giving you the lead that is connecting the platform with the dealer so a proper sales process can start. And that safe environment is thanks to the UX and the UI, so the user experience, the user interface, where you feel comfortable on leaving the lead and say, okay, we're good. So I'm happy to giving you my data so we can start a deal process.
Yeah, definitely. Actually, we even built a SaaS solution for dealers so that they can log into the portal and see everything. So we're very transparent in terms of results, views and clicks, and also they can export the leads from there. We even built a solution, Alex, where, you know, we want to be involved in the whole sales journey. So we don't want to stop by just providing them with the lead. What we did is an integration, API integration with the CRM system that the dealer is using.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, so all the leads goes directly.
Yeah. Well, see, this is amazing because one of the main issues that we have in Europe, but is really across the globe, is the trustworthiness of a platform and the relationship with the data that we have, and because multiple parties are involved. And it's great that you keep transparency as a main topic, I believe, because as a user that is going to buy something, is making a purchase with tons of requests happening every day via phone calls or whatever, at least you know where you actually put your
information
money
on your
Yeah.
money. Yeah, as an advertiser. Yeah, actually, we've signed with a lot of reputable brands here in Qatar.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, and international brands. So we're very happy about that, and
great.
we're growing even more, and we're willing to expand in the region as well.
I think a platform that has the principle of trust, specifically in a very complicated industry like AUTOCAR making and selling cars, can really be a success across the board in all the Gulf. So it's I know it's going to be challenging, that's for sure, but it's the way that you can really scale on new markets that are opening, new car makers that are coming, and finally, you know, a new connection as a gateway, as I mentioned, with other regions that are from Europe or even United States by itself.
Yeah, definitely. Like we have focus on new cars, but we know the used cars is an important thing. So as a dealer, you can sell new cars or used cars, pre-owned cars. And also you as a private seller, if you want to sell your vehicle, you can do it totally free on our platform.
Oh, that's
so free of charge.
beautiful. Yeah. Oh, that's amazing. Well, pre-owned are very, very important. Very, very important, especially, I believe, to create the base of relationship with your customer as a buyer, because sometimes, specifically for certain type of cars, it's easier to go through a platform and say, let's give it a shot and see how it works. And that specific transaction can really help you to succeed through the trustness around the board with the users.
Alex, not only that, one of the functionalities that I really feel proud, it's basically a functionality that I built with my partner, Chris Sharbel.
Okay.
We were like sitting like this, and we said, when you look for a car, especially when you're browsing, you don't just see a car and say, oh, I'm going to buy this. You need to go through tons of vehicles. You need to browse a lot. So the way it is happening through, I don't know, other platforms was not the way we saw it's the optimum way to do things. So we came up with a functionality which is card view. You swipe right, you swipe left.
I saw that.
Whenever it goes to your wish list, and then you
amazing.
go. Yeah. So it's a convenient way.
Yeah.
It's a comfortable way. You can do it, sit on the sofa, swiping right, left, and then I'm going to reach out to these people that are selling these vehicles whenever I'm ready, whenever I feel it.
When I saw that, I was very engaged with the functionality, because it relates a lot on how technology can be applied even to an industry that has more than 200 years. And it was amazing, because it's really help you to go through faster process and say, I don't want to contact them now, but is an automatic creation of the wish list that you can just achieve later, but you can save in a bucket what you really are looking for. And I'm confident the platform is working through those type of interests to optimize my researches.
Well, Alex, thank you so much for joining us.
Been my real pleasure.
And I hope you enjoy the rest days in Qatar.
I will.
And I hope to see you soon.
Hope to see you soon. And thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you so much.
Have a good day.
Thank you too.
One AUTOCAR. All deals. One place.